A very good morning and welcome to this morning's edition of Newsline. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka and joining me is senior journalist Faraz Shaukat Ali. Good morning, Faraz, and how are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm well, thank you. Top of the world, and we have elections. What more can you want?
Definitely. And as always, we're going to brief you on the headline-making stories of today's newspapers, and also we have a special guest joining us on Newsline. To start off today's program, we have The Island, the headline from The Island, which reads, "Dangerous Drug Control Board Chief to get a pistol." If I read something of the article, the police have recommended that National Dangerous Drug Control Board Chairman Dr. Lanka be provided with a small firearm in view of threats to his life. Now, he has been apparently receiving threats. He has recently revealed that he has a list containing the names of 25 members of the last parliament. Now, for us, does this mean the NDDCB is doing a good job for them to receive a threat like this?
Well, obviously they're doing a job, probably a good job, and it's a sad indictment of the ambience that we live in this so-called democracy that we enjoy in Sri Lanka, that a public official has got to resort to being armed to establish his safety, all because he is apparently doing his job.
So how do we protect public officials who take on the corrupt and in the underworld? Why can't we just provide this gentleman with, security?
I think that he's most probably being supplied with the appropriate security, and this the weapon that he's being issued with is an additional part of that whole process. But I do hope that Dr. Samarasinghe is being given some lessons on how to use this, because not all Sri Lankans, owning weapons is not very common in Sri Lanka. So we hope he's had the appropriate level of training.
So we have Dr. Lanka Samarasinghe, Chairman of the National Dangerous Drug Control Board, joining us over the phone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So what response have you got from the government with regard to the threats that you have received?
Yeah, actually there is no positive response, but before I come to the narcotics, I hope these threats from the drug dealers, but it couldn't be unusual for me, because I hope this, as I hope it came. Yeah, that's all.
Dr. Samarasinghe, apparently you have a list of 25 members of Parliament who you say are involved in this matter. How fair is it for you to name them when actually everybody is innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah, the thing is, expose the list is a duty of the Honourable President, because he has given a clear promise by his manifesto on January 8th. If he will to expose it, then hopefully I can hand over it to him, because it's a job his him, because he gave a promise in the manifesto.
But of course we have a police department, and we must have an investigation and so on before we unfairly accuse these people. So there is a due legal process. And don't you think we should first follow that rather than get one person to make a decision, because the president doesn't have all that sort of power?
Yeah, the thing is, if you listen to the today news, for the last 21 years, the bribery commission able to prove only one politician against the bribes. That's the nature of this country, but hopefully, as you said, these allegations against the politicians are well known to people, not to the law. But as you said, until the person is decided by the courts against the drugs, we couldn't name them by law. But the President, His Excellency, still has powers, and he has that power. He couldn't get into the court against anything what he expressed.
Dr. Samarasinghe, one last question. Now, will these threats hinder the activities of the NDDCB in any way?
Yeah, I don't think, because this is my duty, and I am a student of Professor Seneka Bibili. I follow him because I hope this, because I never stop my duty to the nation by these silly threats from none. Yeah, it's not a problem for me.
Well, thank you, Dr. Samarasinghe, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Now, moving on to Ceylon today for us, we have bribery probes during past 21 years on politicians, and only Anuruddha Ratwate found guilty. So, does this mean that there's a problem with the bribery commission? Why can't they take any action?
Well, clearly there is a problem, isn't there? Either they're understaffed or they lack resources to cope with the level of claims and allegations that are being reported to them.
So is the lack of coordination between state investigation agencies like the Auditor General and the Bribery Commission, does this have an impact on?
Well, yes, that also plays a role, but also there should be a commitment, a firm commitment from to provide leadership, and that obviously comes from the top. And when we mean from the top, it has to stem from the President and the Prime Minister and the Cabinet and so on. So we need to see a firm commitment to implement these rules. There are enough rules and regulations. It's only a question of proper and fair and sustained implementation which is required.
So don't you think courts are too backed up to quickly prosecute someone who is, leveled with allegations?
Well, yes, the Sri Lankan court system is completely overshadowed by the backlog of cases. I think the figures in the last year has something like 900,000 cases outstanding at the end of that year. Now, courts tend to work till 3 o'clock every day. By the simple method of working another 2 hours, say till 5 o'clock, will result in a 40% increase in the rate at which these cases are taken up. And what that means over a year, this 40%, is that a further 360,000 cases can be heard. And so instead of having a backlog of 900,000, we're likely to have a backlog of only about 540,000. And that is merely by not spending too much of money. It's by working another 2 hours on every court day.
And definitely something for the policymakers to think about. Moving on to the Daily FT, Mahinda says no to national government. So he seems quite confident, or is it just, is it a political reality?
But I think the political reality is that the former president has maintained an unprecedented wave of support. And as he pointed out the other day in Anuradhapura, after he went home on the 9th of January, he believed he was going home. But unlike when he started off in politics, he found that the people were coming to him, which is an unusual phenomenon. We've had presidents in the past who've lost and gone home, or who've just retired after 2 terms. So I don't think it's rhetoric, and I think it really is political reality.
So we also have a headline in the Daily FT which says, Mahinda challenges government to prove allegations against him. Now, there was so much talk about allegations, but, most of it is unproved, and they are it seems that the opposition is using all these as propaganda material.
Well, that is one of the principal concerns of the average voter, because there were so many allegations thrown about and bandied about. And it is again a very sad indictment of the state of affairs that none of these, or very little, has been proven and ended up in court. From another point of view, it's a pity that Sri Lanka's libel lawyers don't get on their act, because there will be plenty of work for them, because so many allegations have been bandied about, and there is, like you say, hardly any case that has come up that has been proven in court or stands up to legal scrutiny. So these allegations are being fought out in the national press or on the internet, on Facebook and so on, and so forth.
And we, as I mentioned earlier, we have the Secretary of the UPFA National Media Committee, Mr. Silanga Sumatipala, joining us in the newsroom with a newsline. Good morning, Mr. Sumatipala.
Good morning, Arundhati. Good morning,
morning, Mr. Silanga.
And thank you for taking time and with your busy schedule. Let me straight away go ahead with the questions. Now, Sri Lanka is experiencing a heavy tax burden. It says that the country pays 5 billion rupees to China and 250 million rupees monthly for the services at the Matale airport. Now, as a businessman, aren't you a bit worried about the situation in the country?
Well, we had a fabulous, fantastic game plan. This country can't run without having FDI. Without having the FDI, there is no chance we can transform this into a developed country. We are a middle income nation at the moment. Soon after the war in 2009, we have looked at where we can secure our natural resources as well as secure our income levels. We found what is the investor looking at basically. Fundamentally they are looking at political stability, then they look at the infrastructure, they look at the consistency in tax policies and so forth, and then they look at knowledgeable workforce. So when you look at all key elements for us to look into the need of the investments coming in, we looked at the requirement of the ports, harbour, and then the airport, as well as the ring circle highways, and we looked at the major proper line investments for those. But then fact remains, you can't get that done without borrowing money. And obviously USA is taking borrowing money from even China. So where you bring the money and what we are investing is a policy matter. I don't think anybody challenges former government, which is the Mahinda Rajapaksa presidency government, as far as policies are concerned. Because this government, under Ranil Wickremesinghe Prime Minister's government, there is no roadmap, there is no consistency in tax policy or the investment plans or the infrastructure. They are always criticizing and they've been negative with regard to FDI. One example, this Colombo Port City, between the two head of states, signed an agreement, and that is a commitment by country to country, and you just shut it down and suspend that. So such a situation is not going to help investor confidence. And then if you have a reasonable grounds to say something, that's fine, but we are losing a lot of penalty at the moment because we have suspended the agreement between China and Sri Lanka with regard to investment. You are looking at a contractor, or there is a misdeed or any kind of a mismanagement, misappropriation, there is a way of dealing with it. But Sri Lanka is not the only place people can come and invest. So if you lose our credibility, goodwill, it is a huge task for you to recap that. So when you look at our debt ratio, yes, we have taken priority on our immediate infrastructure. Without that, without those major investments, there is no chance we can transform this country into a developed country over the next 10 years. So I think we have invested right, but then the borrowing, can anybody match these borrowings from elsewhere? Right. And all the projects that criticized by the UN peers are now continuing. Tell me anything that they have stopped and saying they have justified by any means that this is the reason we are suspended, this is how much we have gained.
Mr. Sumatipala, now every government that comes into power will have to face these debts. Now, will a national government be a solution to this problem?
Well, the very fact that the national government is spoken of is because Ranil Wickremesinghe, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has no game plan. He knows he's losing. So he is coming out with this idea of national government. We don't need a government to be national government. We want to have a good, strong government, which we are confident of winning. We don't discuss about national government. We are getting more than 113. We have a game plan. We are winning. So once we win, if anybody wants to join us for the purpose of supporting the government, we have no issue with that. But government, people are expecting a strong policy government with transparency and accountability. Opposition people are expecting a vibrant opposition to keep the government under pressure. So I don't think that as a country people are looking at a national government. They are not having any confidence whom to go to. So I think the national government is out of the question. National government is something that UNPers are harping on because they know they are losing. They are expecting. They are relying on Maithripala Sirisena President to support them, to get their power back at the cost of presidency. It's not going to happen. President Maithripala Sirisena is going to, at the end of the day, going to wait till the results come out, and we are going to win, and we will form the government.
Mr. Sumitipala, there appears to be two factions within the UPFA. One that is with President Sirisena and the other with the former president. Is that right? Is it one coordinated effort or is it not?
Well, up until the nominations, there were two school of thought, and they were, there was a former president's alliance or the affiliations and the loyalties had been there. New president took over the presidency. He was the secretary of the party for a long time. Now, what we have to look at very clearly, we can never win this election without former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. We can never win this election without Mahinda Rajapaksa. But can we form a government without President Maithripala Sirisena? We can never form a government without the President Maithripala Sirisena. So we need both fractions, both sides, both teams to work together. So in that context, we are at the right path, because there are minorities in this country. They have enormous respect and confidence with President Maithripala Sirisena. There are people at the end, in the sense, the Sinhala Buddhist extreme lines. They have confidence because of how President Rajapaksa dealt with the war situation, dealt with the foreign pressure, international pressure to stop the war, not to conclude the war. So when we look at the strength of both of them put together, we are at a huge advantage. I don't think either side has any confidence with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's camp. Minorities doesn't have any confidence with Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. Neither the extreme Buddhist line have any confidence with Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. So how is he going to gain the last mile? He can never capture the last mile and win.
Are you supporting any particular faction, or are you supporting your party? Where do you stand?
I'm a party man. I'm with my leadership. I'm with my party any given time. When President Rajapaksa contested, I gave 100% heart and soul for him to win, but he got defeated. Then the party has decided to appoint Mr. Rajapaksa as the chairman of the party. Then he wanted to be a politician. Then we even proposed him to be the opposition leader. After a week, he handed over the party to Maithripala Sirisena, the president. So President Sirisena took over the party as the leader of the party, and he has transformed this party slowly into a certain direction. And well, in the meantime, because of popularity, people are wanting Mahinda Rajapaksa back in action. That's the feeling of the party. Now we are getting both worlds together to get the best out of that situation to win the election. But my point of view, I am always been a party man. I will always be working with the leader of the party and with the policies of the party. Whatever the central committee decision is, I will stand by that. We will have internal discussions, debates, and we have our way of looking at things. Our ideologies are different. Each and everyone has their own thinking. But at the end of the day, if you are in a party, you have to have a discipline to work within the party. So I think this party has a huge future. This Sri Lankan Freedom Party is going to transform this country. We led this country for the highest number of years. We from former Prime Minister S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike to Sirima Bandaranaike to Chandrika Bandaranaike, then to Mahinda Rajapaksa, the current president. We've been running the country to the highest level. So I think my loyalty is for the party. I will do everything possible for this government to be formed under UPFA-led SLFP.
I believe you have another question.
Yes. Mr. Sumitipala, who will be the next Prime Minister of Sri Lanka?
Well, Sri Lanka Freedom Party is got the most popular man in the grassroots level. So our party believe next Prime Minister should be from SLFP. SLFP most popular man right now is Mahinda Rajapaksa. So Mahinda Rajapaksa, whoever is getting elected, will be proposing Mahinda Rajapaksa as the premier candidate after the election. I don't think there is a question about that. But then at that moment of time, we would like to support him, and with the conditions of what the country would like to see. And then I think there is no stopping us winning. I don't think the grassroots level requirement of anyone else to look at as a leader of our party to lead the parliament. So it's very clear at the moment. That's why I said you can never win without Mahinda Rajapaksa in this campaign. We can never form a government without Mr.
One last question.
Maithripala.
Now we have two deputy ministers, Eric Piruvardana and Sudarshini Fernandopoulos, leaving their ministerial portfolios. Why are you still in the portfolio? Is it because you are enjoying some benefits of the move?
Absolutely nothing of that sort. Party has to take a decision at the central committee. Party has decided to join. Unless the party give a ruling on what day, which day we have to get out, it's not fair by the party. So individually people get reacted and panicky and situation. I'm about that. I don't think personal decisions can be above the party. Party's decision has to be upheld all the time. So I think if you look at the long-term, long-distance our roadmap, Sri Lanka Freedom Party is the need of the hour. And we have slowly converted ourselves into the requirement of the public. The opposition is relying on the weaknesses of us. They were relying on the division of Sri Lanka Freedom Party. They were not working on their strengths. We are working on our strengths, and therefore we are confident that we can win. So no way that elections can be won by any party unless you work on your strengths. Whereas our opposition at this moment of time is relying 100% on weaknesses of our party. That is no longer. After the nomination day, we are all one family, one UPFF family, one team. We are going to win.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Samuthipala, for joining us this morning. And with that, we wrap up this morning's edition of Newsline. Thank you, Faraz, for joining us,
thank you
as
very
always.
much.
And thank you for joining us this morning with Newsline. And we'll see you again tomorrow at 7 a.m.